Well, just because the world of NASCAR is taking a couple of off weeks doesn't mean we continue the fun and action here in the virtual world as we get set for the Monday night performance presented by Ryco Performance and get ready to cover exciting action here in Southern California at the Auto Club Speedway. Hello, everyone. I'm Taylor Burns. Alongside me is Sheldon Atkins with our producer, Austin Derbyshire. And Sheldon, we are here to kick off some great racing action here at the hallowed grounds of Auto Club Speedway. Even though this track doesn't exist anymore for real racing, it is wonderfully preserved here in the virtual world on iRacing.
And what I was saying there is like, action is the key word for this place. About 5 or 6 different lanes on both ends of the track here. You're going to see people all the way down to the apron, up to the fence. Bumpy, slick, worn out, beat up race surface, really hard on tires, really rewards who's good behind the wheel. And it's you're going to find out who the best driver here tonight is for sure.
Absolutely, as we get set. Currently, qualifying is underway for our drivers as they get themselves situated. But as we get set and watch qualifying underway, Sheldon, let's go ahead and talk about the keys to winning here at Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, so one of the most important things, you got this beautiful 2-mile facility, long straightaways. So one of the most important things is going to be keeping the momentum up. Whether that means, finding the right line to build a nice run down the straightaway or just using a little bit less wheel than you would think to use here. Don't scrub too much speed coming through the corners. Focus your way out of the corner. That's going to be one of the biggest keys here. Otherwise, you're going to go back about 10 spots per straightaway. Second of all, don't scorch your tires. I said earlier, it's rough, it's beat up. We got a lot of bumps. This is a very abrasive track. It's going to chew those good years off really quick if you start treating them wrong. And then, above all else, find what works for you. This is one of those tracks where you can make the top work, you can make the middle work. They can run on the apron in 3 and 4 if they want to. There's a lot of different ways to get around this place. Find what you're most consistent with. Find what your car likes best and go with it from there.
Well, as we get set and ready to go, let's go ahead and talk about the production picks. And for me, I'm going to go with someone who's been on the bit of the up and up. Good runs. He's starting off decently, currently inside the top 10. I'm going to go with Johan Seminario, driving that number 56 Toyota. Sheldon, what about you?
Well, I'm about to go with somebody that I've ran a lot with in the B Series back in the day. Somebody I saw put on absolute clinics when we come to these big tracks. I have to go with Adam Benefiel. I feel like he's going to be hot to trot tonight.
Absolutely. And, of course, our great producer, he decided to go with a former eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion, of course, the driver of Michael Conti, who is out there on the track, along with Garrett Maines, a couple of other drivers who were current and former eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series competitors. Currently, right now, it is a very comfortable and starting to be getting hotter, 89 degrees Fahrenheit, 117 track temperature. And Sheldon, one thing we also talked about moving around this track, offers you multi-lane racing if you know what you're doing. You can run the bottom, you can run the middle, you can run the top. It's just all about how well your car is set up in order to race here around the Auto Club Speedway.
And it's also one of those tracks, too, that you kind of treat like a dirt track. If you're not doing so well on the bottom, chase the grip. Find your way around. Figure out what's going to work best, what feels right. Either way, here's the lineup.
Here is your starting lineup on the pole with a 40.437. It's Nicholas Vroman. Alongside him will be the Nitro driver of Clayton Hoffman. Row number 2 will see the driver of Jacob Schneider from Greenville, South Carolina. He'll be alongside Cody Terlende in the 09. Rounding out your top 5 will be Roger Pierce in the Ryco number 27. Garrett Maines currently sits in the 6th position. Joseph Squared from Clifton, New Jersey will be starting in the row number 4 and 7th with Shane Davis in 8th. Rounding out your top 10 will be Johnny Baldridge and Miller Bonds from Athens, Alabama.
And coming in 11th spot, we're going to have Johan Seminario with Paul Gallenberg to his outside in 12th. 13th place, we have Mitchum. Sorry about that. 14th is going to be Kwame Adjei. Wow, they're hitting me with curveballs here. Sorry, guys. 15th is going to be Raw Severa with Jeffrey Taylor in 16th. 17th is going to be Justin Belmonte with Stephen Armstrong to his outside in 18th. And running out your top 20 is going to be Matt Press and Spencer Torres.
Moving on to row number 11, we'll find the driver of Paul Hill in the number 17 and 21st position. He'll be alongside Blaine Snyder Moving on down the line is Sean Rogers and Tommy Gossett from Smyrna, Tennessee. And then, of course, in 25th will be the 25 of John Payson with Robert Fitzpatrick in 26. Michael Conti will be starting in 27th alongside Robert Miller with VRS. And rounding out your 30 car field, Adam Benefield and William Phillips will be riding Shotgun Charlie in tonight's race. 30 cars on the grid, about to head up onto this 2.5-mile circuit and putting on some exciting racing here tonight. Of course, this is just part of a double header that we'll have here. Of course, the drivers in the A-car racing at Auto Club will be moving on down to the Bluegrass State in Kentucky as we watch the B-Series to battle there at the Kentucky Speedway.
Hey, what? Couple little storylines here starting out. We got Conti decided he wanted to wait past qualifying, him and Benefield both, and I got a good feeling that those two are going to be really quick, and it's going to be really fun watching them cycle their way through this 30-car field tonight.
Absolutely. It's going to be exciting to see how this will all play out for us here tonight. Of course, the NASCAR A-Series entering into its 7th week of competition, pretty much. So a lot of exciting details to keep an eye on for the racing action here tonight, as championships are on the line for these drivers as we move further and further into the championship, reaching halfway in the season. So a lot of points still up for grab. Vroman, of course, one of the top heavy hitters, Jacob Schneider, Clayton Hoffman, all of them trying to vie for a chance of winning their divisional and overall championships.
Yeah, we're starting to get ourselves a little bit closer to crunch time, it feels. I'm excited to see what these guys do here. This is a fun track, and I love watching races here, and first time calling one here, so it's going to be great.
It really is. We're happy to have you with us here on GridVision. Make sure to follow us, like, subscribe, keep up to date with all of our amazing content on social media, as Benny, the pace car driver, will make that hard left turn. Actually, sorry, that's Fred, as he will make that hard left turn. Barney the flag man will have the green flag in the hands and ready to go racing. It's Ford versus Toyota, Nitro versus Ryco. Green flag is out as we're racing here in Southern California. One car already diving right down to the bottom of the racetrack as they come across the start-finish line. That's a 17 machine working his way down to the bottom of the racetrack, and it's already chaos 3-4 wide as they work their way out of turn number 1, and already 3 wide for the race lead as it's Broman, Hoffman, Terlende battling for that spot. Here comes Garrett Maines as he'll try to look his way and sneak his way through the middle of the racetrack. He's going to go around the outside of Nicholas Broman out of turn number 4 as they come across the line. Cody Terlende will lead the first opening lap here, but here comes Clayton Hoffman with a head of steam in the Nitro Toyota. He'll give a big push, and he will slot into second place. Garrett Maines follows suit from his Toyota as they try to jockey for position. How about the 79 of Shane Davis in the Beast Mode machine, trying to fight off Nicholas Broman on the inside?
Really hard, though, to get that power down there on the bottom. Broman's going to pull him down the straightaway here. Use that draft. Davis is going to fall back in line behind Broman here.
Here they come down.
And Hoffman to the lead, 3 and 4. Big pass on Cody Terlende, just sent it down in there.
Beautiful pass right there by Clayton Hoffman to take over the race lead for the time being. But here comes Garrett Maines. He wants to take a charge at it and see what he can do to get that race lead away. He'll slot into second after getting around Terlende for that second position. Single file now for your top 5 as they try to work their way, find their dancing partner, and see what they can utilize as we see contact further up the track, 4-5 wide even as they come off of turn number 2. Drivers jockeying, pushing and shoving their way to get through the field.
Was that Gossett in the middle there? Oh, Gossett and Baldridge, 2 former teammates, trading paint here going into turn 3.
It is absolute chaos at the back and half of the field inside the top 10. As there you see Tommy Gossett and several others trying to fight their way through to get a spot as we watch on to see who is going to survive it. Johan Seminario holds the 10th spot. He holds the gate for that spot as Tommy Gossett and Paul Galermore are working their way side by side in the 11 and 38 machine of Michael Mitchum and Johnny Baldridge going side by side off turn number 2.
Oh, Tommy got really close to getting up into the 11 of Paul Galmore coming out of turn 2. All over the rear bumper, the 56. Galmore. I'm figuring these names out here.
Join the club. We got some friendly. Gossett and Baldridge.
Oh, and those are two very aggressive drivers. Baldridge into the side of Seminario coming out of 4.
They are absolutely showing the aggression level, and we're not even at lap 10 yet. We're not even closing in on the quarter distance of this race, and they are fighting extremely hard, working their way through with a big send right there on the outside of Michael Mitchum to try to get further into the top 10.
Yeah, these guys are getting really dicey. A little too dicey, I think, for this early in the race. But, I mean, hey, they know better than me. I'm up here talking about it. They're out there doing it.
So they're fighting hard as here comes Michael Mitchum. He's going to try to put some pressure on the back bumper of Joseph Squared in the number 20 as they come out of turn number 2, Toyota versus Ford, as they go through the middle of the corner out of turn number 4. And Joseph Squared will hold on to the position. Roger Pierce sits comfortably as he wants to try to maintain his spot. He's going to have a little bit of help from his teammate of Joseph Squared as Michael Mitchum tries to find an opening into the corner of turn 1.
Well, looks like a 3-wide battle. Kwame to the outside here. Baldridge. A little bit, it looked like they were about to make a little bit of contact. Got really close. Everybody's going to cycle out. Kwame's going to get the run down the back straightaway, though. But Baldridge is going to get him back coming into 3 on the bottom.
He is really just fighting hard. Kwame is just absolutely trying to fight his way through in that 29 machine. Strong run around the outside. He moves inside the top 15 for the first time tonight as they are lined up nose to tail as the number 10 machine right there behind Johnny Baldridge. That, of course, being the driver of Spencer Torrance in that number 10 Premier machine is trying to fight his way further as Baldridge will move Kwame up the racetrack.
I wouldn't be doing that. Kwame is somebody that I've known of for a long time on here, and that is somebody that can bite you back if you start pushing against him.
And with that, Spencer Torrance picks up a 2-for-1 special, gets around both Kwame and Johnny Baldridge to move up to the 14th position. Great pass for position as now Baldridge will swap behind Kwame, but here comes Seminario. He wants to get further up the field as he tries to fight his way and close the gap. Michael Conti sits in the catbird seat ready to pounce and make a move for any one of these drivers making mistakes.
That's also one of those things you can do here, too. When they get side-by-side racing each other, it really slows them down. Here on the straightaways.
You can be, what Michael Conti did.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Conti, first one up on the fence in 1 and 2 there, and we're going to see how that plays out. I feel like that's going to be money, especially the longer we get into this run on tires.
Absolutely.
What I was saying a few seconds ago, though, you got to be really opportunistic, too, here. If you see people racing side-by-side in front of you, and you get that run coming out of the corner, it's going to slow them down. You run behind them, it's going to slow you down, too. Go ahead and dive it down low or take the top, figure out what you're trying to, where you want to go, and take it.
Basically go where there is no cars and try to find his opening and make the pass. We're seeing that now as the number 6 machine is starting to make a run around the outside. That, of course, being the driver of Justin Belmonte in the Abruzzi Racewear machine. Got Adam Benefield right there behind him as they try to work their way around. But here you go, right around the outside.
Conti.
Michael Conti picking him up, putting him down.
And the closer that car gets to the front of this pack here, the more you're going to see people doing that. Because once you see that it is working for them, I mean, I'd be up there now myself if I was anybody out there behind him because, it's Conti. If he's running somewhere, it's probably going to work out in his favor. But the closer he gets to the front of the pack, if he stays up there to the top, see him cycle down to the bottom here now. It looks like he's trying to cool the tires down a little bit, try to save it some. But, people are going to start trying that now, and, it's a new tool in the toolbox for these guys.
Something to keep in mind and what they could utilize later in the run or at another time as Clayton Hoffman continues to pull away. He currently has plateaued at the moment on Garrett Maines. It's about 0.4 of a second between your top two as they pulled away by about 1.3 seconds from Nicholas Vroman in the 3rd position right now. So everyone inside the top 5 pretty much just trying to run their race, log some laps, see how their tires fare at the end of this run.
I will say, too, top 10. It's more or less your usual suspects here for your top split A open. All the way through there, I can't really look through that top 10 on that board and see anybody that really surprises me too much.
Yeah, pretty much a quiet run as far as some of our normal championship favorites here battling it out in this series. And it's great to see them week after week continuing to do so. Sheldon, as we watch on this battle inside the top 5 between the driver of Joseph Squared and Michael Mitchum. That's actually the battle for P8 as they stay side by side through the middle of turn 2.
And you saw Joseph pull a huge side draft. So we got a 3-wide battle right behind them. Cycles back out to 2.
3 wide as they work their way through. A couple of drivers having some issues. What happened to Robert Miller? He has been struggling. He's towards the back half of the field right now in that VRS machine for the Altus team.
Not somebody I was expecting to see back there. Maybe he's just, maybe he didn't like what he saw in the pack. I mean, it's also, you have one or two bad corners here, and it feels like the whole field gets by you down the straightaway.
Absolutely, as they work their way through side by side, battle for position. There you see further back drivers trying to really run that outside lane as they come through the middle of the corner right now. As we watch the 79 machine having a good fight with drivers. That's Shane Davis, who is on screen right now in the beast mode machine, as he holds off and tries to find his way around Roger Pierce just up ahead.
And I got to throw him some credit because I didn't really notice him until a couple weeks ago in this series, and he has been really good in this split, really competitive with a lot of these guys out here that, we talk about every week. It's, hanging out fringe top 5, top 10 area. Be interested to see where the momentum builds and how far that takes him, because he's been really good.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you as we watch this battle for position between Michael Mitchum as well as the driver of Tommy Gossett, another driver who's been on a little bit of a charge here recently. Tommy Gossett trying to find his hole and footing in the series in the A Open, along with Michael Mitchum, who's had some decent runs here recently, I have to say. Sheldon putting on some good top 10s, a couple of top 5s possibly in his future.
Yeah, and Tommy's been absolutely great here the past couple weeks, just making the most out of taking a normal race or, a bad race and figuring out how to get the most out of it, the most that he possibly can without stepping over the line. Tommy's been known to have a couple mistakes in the past, and here recently it seems like he's really starting to shape it up and clean it up. And, top 5s at Chicago at the street course. That wasn't on my bingo card. Oh, he gets close. Oh, no, I talked him up.
Commentator's curse coming from Sheldon tonight as they spin on the front straightaway between Tommy Gossett and Michael Mitchum. No caution. We still stay green, but a tough break for both of these competitors jockeying and battling for position.
Well, the good news for both of them is the only thing that got hurt by either one of them there was a little bit of ego. See Tommy on the bottom here. Slides up. Mitchum still holding that middle line. I think there was nowhere really else for Mitchum to go. He had maybe a quarter of a lane to go to. Tommy just slid up a little bit, got into his door, and round she went.
Tough break for both of those competitors. They slot back to 28th and 29th. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Garrett Maines has finally found his opening and has taken over the race lead ahead of Clayton Hoffman, as here comes Vroman, Schneider, Terlende, and more as they jockey for position heading into 1.
Now, that one was on the bingo card.
Absolutely.
Maines strong. Always is. One of the best here in this series, probably on the service.
Currently sits at the point standings for the A Open by 128 points over Nicholas Vroman right now. He currently has 4 wins for the season, 3 poles, an average finish of 2nd here this season so far. So he's been on the tear.
27
One
on the
car
wall.
hits. Yep, that was Roger Pierce who hit the wall off turn number 4. He'll lose his spot to Terlende right now, as he will fall back and have to gather it back up and regain that momentum.
Yeah, Pierce wrapped it down there into 3 and 4 to get the spot on Terlende. Got the spot on him and then just looked like he got a little bit snugged and it pushed a little bit loose and up the track she went.
Riding on board with Nicholas Vroman, who sits 2nd in the championship. 6 wins for him this season. He wants to make it a lucky number 7 for him tonight as he tries to see if he can find the opening to the inside with Clayton Hoffman hot on his tail, who sits 14th in the championship. He's going to get split right down the middle as they go 3 wide across the line between the 02 machine of Jacob Schneider and the driver of Cody Terlende in the 09.
Terlende is just a rocket right now at this point in the run. He's flying out here.
Absolutely a rocket ship.
It's impressive, especially when you look out there and you see a guy just surrounded in a sea of Ryco paint schemes. You see a Busch Light Toyota working his way up to the front, all over the back end of Roman right now.
Cody Trelende is really putting the pressure down and seeing what he can do, if he can go for second. Here comes the cavalry, though, as Roger Pierce and Clayton Hoffman try to bear down on the driver of Jacob Schneider.
Trelende all but had second place there. He got a little loose coming out of 4, but I like what he was doing. He went up there, charged the top line. Looks like that might be paying off here if he can get it to stick.
20 laps up on the board here as they work their way through. Trelende tries to work the outside lane as they work through the middle of turn 1 and 2. Loses a spot right there to the driver of Jacob Schneider as he slides back to the P4 position. Roger Pierce right behind, and then you have Joseph Square trying to hold off the hard chargers of Hoffman and Shane Davis. Conti starting to close in on this group of cars. He set the fastest lap of the drivers inside the top 10 by over 0.4 of a second.
Conti's really finding speed up there in that 4th and 5th groove. 2 inches off the wall, just flying around here. And as I say that, he dives down to the bottom. Thank you, Michael.
He's going to hold on to that position right now for the time being. He wants to pick up a couple of more, though, as he gets a big run down to the inside. Can't do it yet. He'll then give a little bit of a push right there to the driver of Clayton Hoffman as they enter into turn 3 and 4. He'll stay middle groove, try to see if he can get a good run of momentum off corner exit to see if he can find his way around the 8 of Clayton Hoffman.
Yeah, and Hoffman really went out there and burned his stuff up leading. Because as soon as he got passed by one car, he got passed by all of them.
When you're leading, Sheldon, I got to ask, when you're leading in these cars, is it best to go ahead and start saving and conserving those tires as soon as possible? Or is it just, you know what, I can't focus on losing on that position. You got to focus on just trying to get as far away so that way you can go into saving.
Well, it's one of those double-edged blades. You know, you can go out there and you can try and save tires. As soon as you do, they're going to jump you. You're going to lose the spot. If you go out there and send it, you're going to have the lead for a handful of laps, so they're going to end up jumping you in. You're going to lose the spot, too. It's really difficult to decide what to do with that. I mean, it really depends on who's in second place, too.
Absolutely. As we watch the 2 Ryco drivers try to work together down on the bottom of the racetrack, that was, of course, the drivers of the Jacob Schneider and Roger Pierce as they work together. Here comes the big charge around the outside, almost thinking about going 4 wide. Contact between the 27 and the 20 as they try to jockey around for position. Conti will give the push to Roger Pierce down the back straightaway with Hoffman. Make it 3 cars, 2 by 2 by 2, 3 rows deep through the middle of turn 3 and 4.
Oh, man, it really burns me that they got rid of this place, man.
It really does. I mean, this was such a fun, unique racetrack. It provided great racing for the NASCAR series. We'll kind of have to just wait and see what will happen to the future of racing here in Southern California as we await the schedule release for the 2025 NASCAR season.
Trelende is just being a menace right now to these Ryco boys. Every time they get by him, he just shoves it down on the bottom, side drafts and pulls him back and gets in front of him for a couple of seconds, and then they have to take him back again.
He's able to just work that middle to outside lane as accurately and as consistently as possible. But here comes Conti around the outside. He wants to try to close the gap on Trelende, and he will do so. Gives a little bit of a push to see if he can close the gap on the 27 of Roger Pierce, which they're all over the back bumper of.
Conti 7th place, all the way up from, 28th at the start?
It was. He is your biggest mover of the race so far.
I knew that was going to be a good storyline.
Well, it's Michael Conti putting on a good show in that WR1 chassis machine. Of course, one of the founders for the Conti Setup Shop team, who is racing continuously. As always, the Contis, the Nitros, and the Ryco drivers who are battling it out week in and week out for this A Open top split and B Open.
All three of those teams are absolute powerhouses with a lot of good drivers and a lot of good intel. So it's not too shocking to me. It's crazy how far team racing has come in all the time that I've been here.
It really has, Sheldon. I mean, we see time and time again how consistently and things continue to
Conti
change
loose.
as we watch this close battle between the two Ryco drivers of Roger Pierce and the driver of the number 20 machine, Joseph Square, as he is trying to hold off the hard chargers that are closing in behind him. Trelinde now goes to the bottom of the racetrack, but here comes the high, wide, and handsome driver of Michael Conti as, gets into the wall a little bit along with a couple of other drivers. That's not what you want to have. You also saw that with Roger Pierce, who hit the wall coming off turn 4.
Yeah, Pierce got up in front of Conti there, slid up a little bit, and I can't help but to think that the change of air pressure, aero pressure on the nose of the car pushed him up the track just a little bit.
It certainly is, and that arrow is absolutely critical when racing these next-gen cars. As we watch here, these Ryco drivers of Joseph Square, Schneider, and Roger Pierce trying to work their way to close the gap on their teammates of Roman and Maines. It is a top 5 lockout for the Ryco performance drivers. Michael Conti, he wants to say something different about that and try to break into the top 5 as they race across the start-finish line. 27 laps completed out of 70.
You see Pierce going up to the top line here, trying to overtake his teammate Schneider on the bottom. Schneider's really good on entry, though.
Schneider
Pierce is fighting it back here on the top on exit. Gonna be dead even down the back straightaway here. And iRacing did such a good job when they added the multiple grooves back to this track.
They really have, and it's so great to see the racing action here where you can run these multi-groove races here, especially at tracks like Auto Club as, out into the outside wall goes the driver of Jacob Schneider. That opens the door for Conti to sneak his way down to the inside. He breaks the top 5 as he tries to battle with the 02 of Schneider and the 27 of Pierce.
That's a massive break for Conti as he dives it down to the bottom here in 1 on the inside of Schneider. Don't think he's going to be able to get down, though, because Conti, I think, might have burned his stuff up just a little bit. He's looking really loose, center off.
Yeah, and that opens the door now for Pierce to get back down to the bottom of the racetrack. We thank iRacing TV for subscribing and following us here on GridVision as we bring you the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split coverage of the A and B Open races. That will be happening. We'll be covering B Open in a few hours' time as we watch the driver of Michael Conti battling with Roger Pierce for that final top 5 position as they race their way into 1.
I'll tell you what, if these were the old cars, I don't think Pierce's rear tires would have touched the track the entire straightaway there with as hard of a shot as he got from Conti.
As we keep an eye and watch the battle here for the race lead here, it is a 4-car breakaway for the first group, another 4-car group in the 5th spot as here comes Conti. Then we have a 2-car battle for position, and then Seminario holds position with the drivers working their way through. Robert Miller, Stephen Armstrong, and more just jockeying, trying to see if they can close in. And then we go further back to drivers just about around the top 15, top 20, as 25 machine of John Payson thinks about going 4 wide across the line to get around some competitors.
A little bit of contact with 3 machine to his outside. Coming in, still 3 wide, though. Oh, look, Brad Keselowski's in this thing.
Well, hopefully he doesn't have any fuel issues tonight.
Well, he's in the plumbing ride, so get your plungers out. Oh, on the bottom, 20. Joseph Square got a little tight underneath Roman. Just about washed him there.
But he's able to hold on for the moment as we watch out. And yes, Brandon, that 20 car of Joseph is right there, ready to capitalize on these 3 battling for the race lead as he'll go to the top side and follow Jacob Schneider up there. With that, you will not miss a second of it. We're going to go side by side here to say thank you to some of our amazing partners. You're watching the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split only on GridVision.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to GridVision's coverage of the Monday night Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split. Taylor Burris here along with Sheldon Atkins, Austin Derbyshire, our producer, as green flag pit stops are underway here as the field works their way through. It is Jacob Schneider, though, who has taken over the race lead. Garrett Maines dropping back to second as he will fight his way down on the bottom of the racetrack as we watch Vroman working his way through, trying to follow suit. Conti holds fourth with Clayton Hoffman rounding out your top five as they work down the back straightaway. But a couple of drivers have made that first round of pit stops. Roger Pierce, Joseph, Johan Seminario, Raul Saravia, Justin Belmonte, Paul Hill, William Phillips, and Adam Benefield, some of the first ones to come down pit road.
I'm wondering how far the fuel window is going to last these guys. I mean, I'm assuming it won't be too different from Indy last week. I feel like we'd be sitting at around the 40 mark.
Yeah, right now, a couple of drivers are trying to stretch it out to at least lap 40, maybe 41, as we've already crossed over the halfway point, as here comes Michael Conti and several other drivers. Miller Bonds coming down pit road. Joseph Square on the track still. Tommy Goss is still going to stay on the track as well. Great racing and some strategy calls coming into play. How long will Garrett Maines stay out on the racetrack as they work their way through the middle of the corner? He has about a 1.3 as they enter into
I think he's
3
coming.
and 4. Let's see what happens as they enter, and he will come down. Garrett Maines leads the field down pit road. Clayton Hoffman will stay out another lap, along with Spencer Torrance, Shane Davis, and more.
Also interesting thing to note there, that last lap, when he didn't have anybody behind him pressuring him, we saw Maines switch up to the top line, I guess trying to feel it out, see if he likes what he sees up there. Might be something that he will be pulling out a little bit later on in this thing himself.
A couple more drivers are getting over the radio saying, hey, we're pitting this time by Spencer Torrance being one of them, as we watch Jacob Schneider try to work his way through the field. He had a pretty decent pit stop for the most part. Same thing with Roger Pierce as he tries to work his way through. But as they come out of turn number 4, Garrett Maines sets a blistering 13-9 pit stop as here comes more drivers down on the pit road.
That's going to be huge for Maines. I mean, especially over Schneider, because Schneider was pretty slow on pit road compared to what Maines just set off of this pit crew.
Absolutely. That's going to be a big time gain for him when he rejoins the racetrack here as they work down. Jacob Schneider trying to work his way up through the field. Shane Davis, currently your late race leader. Tommy Gossett sits in second, some 12 seconds back right now. So if Shane wanted to, he could stretch this out a little bit. I think he's going to be coming down probably. No, he's going to stay out another lap at least.
I tell you, the one that's probably going to stay out there the longest possible is going to be Gossett, trying to find some kind of recovery, hoping for a caution here after that instant he had at the start of this thing. But, I mean, with what we've seen, I don't think that's going to necessarily work out for him. I don't think that's going to be a net gain. And then heavy right side damage to Gossett's 80 machine, too.
Heavy damage indeed from the incident that happened early on as we watch this battle for position here further back. This is between Vroman, Maines, and Conti. This is the battle for P5 here as Jacob Schneider, well, he's got a little bit of an advantage right now. Same thing with Roger Pierce. He has about a 1 second advantage over Jacob Schneider right now. So a good little bit of strategy call possibly could have helped out Roger Pierce to get the race lead for the time being here as they work their way through. 42 laps completed for your racers.
It's very much going to be for the time being, though, for Schneider right now, because this place, like, as abrasive and bumpy as it is, it's going to chew them tires off real quick. Main's going to be there before too long.
Yeah, absolutely. As we watch him slowly but surely creep in on these two drivers ahead of him, as we watch and wait to see when Shane Davis and Tommy Gossett will come down pit road right now. Shane Davis, he is slowing. He's now coming down pit road to serve his fuel and tire situation.
Pretty neat looking paint scheme on Davis's Toyota.
Yep. The Beast Mode teams with Martin Sports, as Tommy Gossett will stay out another lap around here. Got Adam Benefield behind him trying to get one of his laps back.
That's a shame for Benefield, too. Especially seeing how fast Conti's running. You know the two of them are probably on the same stuff.
Yeah, tough break indeed. We'll keep track here and watch the action as Tommy Gossett will lead the charge. Shane Davis, well, he will fall back and lose positions. Roger Pierce, 12.3 seconds behind your race leader, Tommy Gossett. And he's going to try to see what he can do, if he can close that gap, or he has to wait for Tommy Gossett to come down pit road. But I'm pretty sure Tommy Gossett, he is praying for a caution.
Yeah, no, absolutely, especially with all that damage on the right side and as much track position as he's losing. Every lap that he stays out here, it's another handful of seconds that he's, kind of thrown out the window compared to these guys.
He comes down pit road to get his fuel and tires. This will now give the race lead over to Roger Pierce, Jacob Schneider, Garrett Maines, Froman, Conti, your top five. Clayton Hoffman, he is 3 seconds back from this group of five, so he's got quite a bit of work to do and a little bit of time to make it work. As Adam Benefield let us know that he had an incident, got involved with. That's why he is currently almost a lap down, sitting in 27th. We do have one DNF so far. That's Kwame Adeji, who sits 29th.
Oh, man, they got Kwame too? Darn.
Indeed, unfortunate for Kwame, as we watch a little further back between Joseph Squared and Johan Seminario battling for P7 as they try to hunt down the 8 machine of Clayton Hoffman.
Yeah, everything taming down just a little bit right now. I mean, unless you're Garrett, you've got a mirror full of fun right now if you're Garrett Maines.
Absolutely.
Roman and Conti all over you. And you see he's fought back up to the tail end of Schneider here pretty quick. Not going to be too long before Maines is going to be able to put the power down and blow the doors off Schneider here with that tire disparity.
Yeah, he's going to try his best to do so here as they work their way nose to tail. 4 cars lined to nose to stern here as they come through the middle of the corner, and they are going to push the envelope and fight their way to see what they can do to close the gap on Jacob Schneider and Roger Pierce.
Caught the apron just a smidge there. I don't know if you saw that. Didn't mess him up too much, but...
Yeah, but hitting that apron a little bit too often, though, will mess up the handling of these cars, though. Is that correct, Sheldon?
Just a little bit. I mean, not so much from the actual contact between the car and the apron itself, but more so just from, the counter steer that you have to put into the car to kind of keep yourself from going around when you hit the apron, because when you hit it, it de-wedges the thing and tries to send you into a death slide or push up the track, depending on what track we go to. It gets a little dicey when you hit that.
It certainly is the case here as we watch on and see this battling for position for the second spot as they try to hunt down Roger Pierce. They are closing. He's now under 0.7 of a second ahead and falling further and further into their clutches as they battle it out and try to hunt down your race leader.
I'd have to say Pierce is doing a really good job holding strong with absolutely no help up there on a little bit older stuff than the guys behind him. Pretty impressive. Running really good, qualifying laps, doing everything he can to make lap time here. They will be getting them soon, but holding on pretty well.
Absolutely holding on as best as he can here. And we could see these drivers, when they catch up to him, just stay tucked up behind and wait till the end of the race to make a move.
Well, that all depends on what Garrett wants to do and what Vroman wants to do.
It certainly does, and right now they're not pushing the envelope right now. They're working with Schneider to close the gap and catch up, as now we see here comes Schneider down to the bottom of the racetrack. He wants the inside advantage to get around Roger Pierce as he will lead, and now they'll go single file heading across the front straightaway, heading into turn one as you're right on board with Roger Pierce as he's got a mirror full of Jacob Schneider.
Schneider's going to duck it down to the bottom here in 1 and 2. Pierce is going to roll out the throttle just a little bit up down the top line to let this whole train go by him.
Smart move right there, and he will try to slide right in front of Michael Conti, and he will get the spot as Garrett Mays will take over the race lead and make the pass on Jacob Schneider.
Yeah, he was just waiting for everything to clear out there a little bit. Also, I'm pretty sure, trying to keep extra cars in between him and Conti right now. You see Conti running the top all over the rear bumper of Vroman. Huge push down the front straightaway. Vroman going to keep him tucked up behind him.
Almost going to box him in as Roger Pierce try to get to the inside of Conti, as now Pierce will go to the top side, and Vroman will try to block the air off of the driver of Michael Conti for the time being, as he will stay stationary in the 4th spot.
And what I'm wondering now is when is Vroman going to try and make a move here on Schneider? Because you don't want to lose sight of Mains. You want to get up there. You want to be on his bumper. You want to make him sweat these last 20 laps.
How about the Nitro driver of Clayton Hoffman setting the fastest lap last time by? He is now running some fast laps and all by himself, and he is starting to close up. He's 2.7 seconds back from Roger Pierce as he tries to hunt down your top 5.
As to be on your own making laps that fast, a handful of laps into the run is actually pretty dang impressive.
And he goes a little faster last time too. He ran a 49.8 last time. This time by a 49.7. So just a tick, but it shows he is getting some help, and with that clean air he's getting, not being in this gaggle of cars that you see on screen with Mains leading the charge, a big help for him as we're under 20 laps to go.
Yeah, it's going to start getting dicey here. I'm not expecting too much chaos. These guys, they all have a lot of respect for each other. This entire top 5, top 10, really. Not expecting a whole lot, but the racing itself is going to be pretty crazy.
And Clayton Hoffman, I gotta say, Sheldon, that Nitro driver is flying. He picked up another 2/10 on the field and is closing. It is 2.2 seconds from him to Roger Pierce. We got a
Hoffman. Oh, here's my bad. Here's what happened to Benefield here, lap 13. Oh, he got Johnny'd.
Tough break there for Benefield. Your pick tonight, Sheldon, as he will fall further and further back. He currently is on pit road, I believe, running 3 laps down and struggling to get that car repaired. Tough night for Adam. Hopefully we'll see him later on.
Here's hoping. Right now, 4 cars running away with it right now in the top 5. Impressed at how well Schneider's holding on with the older tires. Somebody just came out of the driver chatter saying that they were wrecking. Not sure who or where, but I think we're going to get a caution. Doesn't look like it.
Okay, well, so far I don't see anyone really falling down the running order at the moment, so we'll see how this plays out.
I honestly figured that Schneider would get overlapped by these guys really quick. He did a really good job of saving his stuff.
Keeping an eye on this battle here for the race as we watch the battle for the top 4 drivers. Conti is trying to break up the Ryco stronghold of the top 4, or top 3 actually, and he wants to break this party up. Roger Pierce watching in the catbird seat as Clayton Hoffman. He is right there if anything were to happen.
Yeah, it is single file just about all the way through this field. So having this little battle we got right now with Trelendi. Down the inside of the 20.
He is going to make a run here. Trelendi tries to get around Joseph Squared as how about the VRS Altus driver of Miller, putting on a good run. Robert Miller in the number 10 Ford, trying to fight his way through.
It's a pretty solid recovery from Miller. We saw him fall back a whole bunch of spots here at the start of this thing. Really done a good job getting himself worked back up here into the top 10. Looking pretty solid, pretty racy, right behind Hoffman. We see the 10 machine right here throwing a little bit of a dive down to the bottom of the 09 at Trelindi. Not quite able to get stick, though. He's going to slide up the track, wash in behind him.
Watching on here as these drivers try to fight their way through, and jockey for position, Roger Pierce, trying to fight his way into the top 4 as we watch Cody Trelende try to fight his battles with the drivers in amongst him. He's got the 210s around him, the driver, of course, of Robert Miller and Spencer Torrance, who are trying to put the pressure on the 09.
And Torrance all over the back end of the 09 coming down the front straightaway here, pushing him straight up into turn 1. Marvin's going to try and push him out of the corner. No, it's going to get a little tight behind him. Not going to be able to get the bumper to him. That arrow is just so massive, especially on a flat 2-mile track like this.
Keeping an eye on the battles for position here as we watch this race for position in the race lead. As great fights for position as we watch Garrett Main starting to pull away 0.2 of a second, and now he's starting to stretch it out. Schneider has some help from Vroman and Conti as they try to keep up the pace of Garrett Mains.
Now here's the question that you got to be asking yourself right now. When is go time going to be for Vroman? When's go time going to be for Conti? You're getting late in this thing. You've got the leader within spitting distance. When are you going to stick the nose out? When are you going to make that move?
Watching on as you ride on board here with the drivers as they work their way into the corner. You're on board with Michael Conti, eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion, as he tries to fight his way up through the field and try to work his way back into a chance of winning here tonight.
Yeah, what you see Conti doing there in 3 and 4 that last time around, offsetting the nose, getting some clean air down to the splitter, let that car turn, build a nice run off the corner. It's really good for saving tires, really good for building a run down the straightaway so that you don't lose sight of those guys in front of you because you know they're fast. But it also helps you mitigate that dirty air.
So we watch on here, 10 laps to go for your race leaders as they work their way down into the corner. Who's going to be brave enough to stretch the limit as they work their way through? And so far, Conti thinks about going to the outside, and he tries to, but Vroman shuts the door.
Huge run. He's going to try and cross him down here on the straightaway. No, Vroman's going to throw a good enough of a block that's going to hold Conti off. This time, anyway.
Watching
see what he does down here.
They're trying everything. Conti is just trying to find the opening he needs as he works his way through the middle of the corner. And he gets the chance. He got the run he wants. Vroman is going to slip back into that 4th position. He sets his sights on Schneider for the 2nd spot as they head into turn 3 and 4. He'll go. Schneider goes to the top side to throw the block. Here comes Vroman back on the attack, and Conti will stay in the middle.
Yeah, right now, too, Schneider was being, I feel like Schneider was being held up there because Vroman was working with him all the way around this place. I don't think he's going to be a difficult pounce for Conti.
Going to be interesting to see how it works as Schneider goes to top, Vroman to the bottom, Conti stays in the middle.
If Schneider is taking away that line that Conti likes to play with, he's taking away that top line, making it harder for him to get anything down straightaways. He's, you know, minimizing the gain that Conti's getting on the corner. Oh, Conti's going to dive it to the top, though, up against the fence.
Big time cross. Go ahead.
Not quite able to make anything of it, though.
Can't make
it work. Huge run down the straightaway.
He might get him into turn 1. Side by side battle. How about 3 wide? He gets such a good run. He is going to challenge your race leader, Garrett Main. Garrett Main throws the block. Schneider goes up top. Michael Conti stays to the bottom of the racetrack as they work their way through the middle of turn 1 and 2. Mains holds on. Conti gets 2nd from Schneider.
Right now, Mains' absolute best friend, because that's the only thing that's holding Conti off of you right now, is the fact that Conti can't get the power down fully because he's got Schneider to the outside. That's the only thing saving Mains at the moment.
Yeah, that arrow pushing on there, just side drafting the driver of Michael Conti, and there's a little swipe right there to try to side swipe him back a little bit and try to pull him further back, side by side as they head off into turn number 1. And once again, the driver of Michael Conti tries to push the envelope a little bit more.
And Schneider going to pinch him down here to the bottom. He's going to hold him down as best he can. Got to be careful, though, because that might bring that car in the bottom around on you.
Gotta be careful.
Great job keeping it straight. He's going to break the side draft down the straightaway here by ducking into the apron. A little bit of the old Indy snake.
Got to be careful with that, though, because that brought back in Nicholas Vroman with those two battling. This will bring him back into the mix, and this allows Garrett Maines to start to pull away a little bit, but Conti gets a run down on the bottom. He might try and clear Schneider off a turn across the front straightaway heading into turn 1. Lined up side by side. Hoffman right there. He gets by the driver of Roger Pierce for the 5th spot, but he is running out of time as they work their way through. Schneider trying to hold off and get the win for his fans here, as here comes Conti on the outside. Schneider throws the block.
Critical time, critical block for Schneider there. Doesn't really do a good enough job holding off the run, though. Conti's going to go back down to the bottom here, and he's going to clear him. He's going to slide him in. He's going to send it. He's going to hurt him here on the exit.
Slide job. Can he complete it? Yeah, contact into the wall a little bit there for Michael Conti. Schneider has to back off just a little bit as they try to gather it back up. And here comes Vroman with a big head of steam as they still stay side by side heading into turn 1. 5 laps to go.
And that little bit of contact right there could be what decided this race for Garrett Maines. Without that contact, Conti would have been moving straight up to the tailpipe, that number 1 machine.
And with that now brings it down to 0.4 of a second between Garrett Maines and Michael Conti. Michael Conti sets himself up to get a good run here in the middle of turn 3 and 4. This is his strongest place that he's able to make moves, gain time on competitors as he comes out of turn number 4. Comes around 4 to go for Michael Conti. Does he have enough time to hunt down your race leader, Garrett Maines, looking for win number 5 this season in the A Open season as he works his way down to the bottom of the racetrack to hold his line. Conti trying to build momentum on the top side as they come out of 2.
This run down the straightaway is going to be massive for Conti because that bottom line, it bogs you down a little bit. You know, what I was talking about earlier today, keeping the momentum up. That's what I mean. Run the top, keeping your foot in as best you can, and not using much wheel. See him offsetting right here, trying to keep clean air on the nose.
Last time by, Conti was a tick faster than Garrett Maines. Let's see what the times are as they come across the line. 3 laps to go, and Conti 0.2 faster than Garrett Maines as they head down into turn number 1. He is all over the back bumper of the Left Court Brothers Racing number 12. Garrett Maines, I think, might have tapped the wall coming off turn 2. Here comes a big run by Conti as he will give a little bit of a nudge, pushing him down the back straightaway here in Southern California for a chance of winning here on the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split A-Open edition. Maines to the bottom, Conti to the top as they come around to get the popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go for your leaders as Maines holds strong for the moment. Conti tries to find his way down to the bottom of the racetrack. No a go, 2 to go for your leaders.
Conti down to the bottom here. Maines are going to be dead equal coming into turn 1. Conti with the advantage. Conti going to slide job, going to slide it back up the track here in front of Maines. Maines going to go back down to the bottom, try to cross him over. Who's going to get the momentum here? Oh, it looks like Conti's got it.
Drag race down the back straightaway.
Dead heat.
Dead heat indeed as they work their way down into turn 3 and 4. Garrett Maines tries to hold on. He edges out and clears Michael Conti. Tries to pull the slide job. Conti crosses him over down to the bottom of the racetrack as they're going to go side by side, nearly touching fenders as they come across to take the white flag. Conti has the advantage as they cross the line. Yes, indeed. No, Garrett Maines got it that time. Let's see what the advantage is going to be heading off into turn number 1. They make contact door to door as they come through the middle of turn 1 and 2. Nicholas Vroman and Jacob Schneider right there ready to go and make the attack. Who's going to be the brave one out of this group of 4? And Vroman, playing the teammate, will push Garrett Maines down the back straightaway to give him an advantage heading into turn number 3 and 4. And here they go. Conti tries to set himself up for a good run. Vroman pinches him down through the middle of the corner and out of turn number 4. A beautiful drive to hold off the champion. Garrett Maines will take home the win in Southern California, and Broman will make it a Ryco Performance 1-2. Conti will get third. What an amazing fight for the win here tonight on GridVision. Sheldon, absolutely incredible.
I told you this place was going to be exciting. I told you this place was full of action, and man, she lived up to the hype. Such a good race, such a good finish. Good one for Maines, and Conti's just sitting there right now wishing he had a teammate up there at the end of that thing for sure.
Everyone's saying congratulations, saying how fun it was to battle it out and put on a good show here, as Garrett Maines will take home another Ryco Performance win here. Win number 5 for him this season in the A Open Season 3.
Yeah, I'm pulling the old Kyle Larson burnout. All throttle.
Is he going to go around the whole A? Oh, almost. Couldn't make it. As Garrett Maines burns it down here in Southern California. We're going to step aside, take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll give you the full field rundown and talk to your winners here. You're watching GridVision's coverage of the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split live on GridVision. Welcome back to the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split here. Garrett Maines, your race winner, followed by Nicholas Vroman in second. Michael Conti third with Jacob Schneider fourth. Clayton Hoffman rounds out your top 5 with Roger Pierce, Robert Miller, Cody Terlende, Spencer Torrance, and Joseph rounding out your top 10.
On place, we're going to have Johan Seminario with Shane Davis in 12th. Unfortunate for him to wind up back there, but he ran great all race. 13th is going to be 21 of Sean Rogers with Matt Press in 14th. 15th is going to be Robert Fitzpatrick Jr. with Jeffrey Taylor in 16th. 17th place is going to be Johnny Ballridge, with 18th place being John Payson. 19th is going to be Paul Hill with Ross Sarava in 20th.
Moving on to 21st is going to be Justin Belmonte, followed by Michael Mitchum in 22nd. Miller Bonds 23rd with William Phillips 24th. Tommy Gossett is 25th with Paul Gallimore in 26th. Stephen Armstrong 27th. Adam Benefield 28th. Kwame Adeji in 29th, and Blaine Schneider did not start. He'll finish 30th. And with that, we'll get a chance to talk to some of our top finishers here tonight, starting off with second place finisher, Mr. Nicholas Vroman, joined us up here in the booth. And Nick, I got to say, that was probably one of the best A-Open races we've seen in a long time. A great effort from you to come back and finish second. Walk us through that final lap, at least.
Sorry, I'm still a little under the weather here. You know, I couldn't really run the top of 1 and 2, right? I was just way too tight up there, so I was kind of in a pickle on what I could do, like to generate a run. So at the end of the day, I kind of ran middle-ish, and I got a decent run of mains, but obviously by the time I got there and exited 2, there's nothing I could do but push them with, end of the day, as long as a Ryco car wins, I guess it's all good.
What I was going to say, Nick, was one thing is we're in the off season or off week right now with a 2-week break. What are you going to do on Friday nights now?
I'll probably race like to 6:30. I probably won't race at 8:30. I'm gonna get some sleep this weekend. At least definitely on Wednesday. I'm not really worried about Friday, but like Wednesday, getting to work, waking up at 4 a.m. is kind of rough.
Right.
And those late freaking races, man. But I'm excited for no races on Wednesday. That's definitely pretty exciting. Friday, I don't know, something there. Maybe I'll go out with the girlfriend and the kids. Maybe we'll go see a movie or something. Who knows?
There you go. Well, Nick, we'll let you go and give your shout outs and have a chance to say who helps you with these great finishes this season.
I didn't do fucking shit this week, so shout out to Tommy, stepped up huge, man. Jacob, as always, and Ken for working on the sets. So yeah, shout out to those guys and everybody else who helped. And shout out to you guys in the booth, and shout out to everybody on track, man. It was 70 lap screen here at Auto Club. I wasn't expecting that, honestly. I was expecting quite a few cautions for how racy you can get, but we did it, so it shows it can be done.
That is Nicholas Froman, your second place finisher here tonight, and apologies for the issues that happened there, but we will now get a chance to talk to your race winner of Garrett Maines, who is going to be talking to Sheldon Atkins.
Man, Garrett, long time no see.
Hang on.
Oh, wait. Whoops. I made a whoopsie. But either way, Garrett. Oh, good. Oh, okay.
We're good.
My brain's not working. Sorry about that. That race was just so dang exciting. Garrett, got a question, man. How big of a Roman fan are you after today?
Hey, man. Definitely huge shout out to Nick there for that push. I mean, he had a chance to take it 3 down the backstretch, and I mean, it was going to be a 50-50 shot whether that worked out or not. But he chose to push me down the backstretch and, I mean, basically solidify a 1-2 for the team. So, big team player there. So, big thank you to him for helping make that happen, because I was in trouble. Like, I felt like it was going to be a drag race down into, into 3 and 4. And it was basically who could lift second. I have a feeling we were both going to go right up the hill, and if he'd waited, he might have had a shot at it. But, like I said, he chose to be the team player and bring home a 1-2. So.
Yeah, honestly, I saw that huge run that Roman got down the back straightaway, and if I was him, I would have ducked it out. So I got to give him props for that too. Another question, guys, is how do you guys So you and Conti were very physical that entire last 10 laps, just beating doors off each other. How do you guys manage to do that without stepping it so far over the line that somebody ends up getting hurt and finishes out and the tail end of the field? And how do you keep it from getting personal?
Well, you're asking the person that, I have no problem getting my elbows out. It's, every once in a while, feelings do get hurt. In that situation there, I mean, I felt like going into, turn 1 on the white flag, I knew he was going to try to make it worth an extra lane or 2. So I had to make sure that I controlled the corner. And, I mean, it was my corner. I was ahead. So, I turned in, took it down to the second lane where I thought I should be. And I don't think he was going to make that corner without a little assistance. But, I mean, we just stayed door to door. I mean, I think the big trick there was we were basically, I was nose ahead, and he was putting his nose on my number. So there was never a point without some connection issue where we were going to get turned sideways. It's just hard racing at that point. And, I knew that was the risk it probably needed to be taken, because the last couple corners, like if I gave him 2 lanes, he was going to, keep on the throttle until he took it up. So I had to make sure he didn't get clear there, because he was a lot stronger on the top and I was a lot stronger on the bottom. But the problem here is if you have somebody on your outside, you're kind of screwed. So I knew where I needed to be. It just, almost ran out of time to be able to hold on to it. So.
Man, you did absolutely incredible at defending that thing, and congratulations on the win. So who do you want to thank for this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to give a huge shout out to the guys at Ryco Performance. Huge shout out to Nick again, but all the guys over there, Jacob, Ken, that put in all the work on the setups. Like, tonight, I know we're going to probably be freeing the car up so we can run the top a little bit better, but we had probably one of the fastest cars on the bottom. We were able to, really rotate down there, probably, some of the best cars to run down there. Just, I think we need to tune it a little bit more, and we're going to be from a defending position. Like, our whole problem is I couldn't move up to defend Conti, so, we're going to make some revisions and get that thing loosened up for the second race. But huge thank you to them every week. I mean, we've had killer fast cars week in and week out, and I mean that's shout out to them. So also a big thank you to Scott at MCU Body, Linux, the guys at FGRXL, and also Left Court Brothers.
Well, man, once again, congratulations for the win, and great job defending that thing, and hope you have a good night, bud.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Go get some rest.
And with that, that will conclude the A Open race. But don't worry, we're going to make a little bit of a quick flight over to Kentucky, to the Bluegrass State, and we will be back for the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split as we take the B cars and make their chance to shine at the Kentucky Speedway, the bumpy, crazy, exciting racing that we could possibly see there tonight. But we'll be back here in a few moments' time for the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split B Open race. Well, we made the quick flight over here to beautiful Kentucky, to the Kentucky Speedway for the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split here. Time for the B Open as the drivers are currently underway for qualifying. Shelton Atkins along with myself, Taylor Burns, and our producer, Austin Derbyshire. As Sheldon, we're in the Bluegrass State now and getting ready to see some action at a track that also is no longer part of the NASCAR schedule, but people want it apparently to come back. Walk us through a little bit about how to get around this track and some of the keys to surviving here at Kentucky Speedway.
Well, they made big changes to this place when they repaved it back in 2016. Flattened out, feels like they flattened out turns 3 and 4 a little bit. I mean, it might still be the same diameter, but they really opened up 1 and 2, added a little bit of banking. A lot of huge changes, a lot smoother than it used to be, too. This place used to be just nothing but potholes and bumps, and I kind of miss the bumping. This track, I love this place, though, so I'm excited to see them run here. Keys to the race today, though. One of the first ones is you're going to want to be very gentle in turns 1 and 2. Since 1 and 2 has so much banking, and you're so much more in the throttle over there than you are on 3 and 4. Over 3 and 4 is so flat. You're typically going to be tuning the car to be looser into 3 and 4, so you're going to be dead sideways in 1 and 2. And it's really easy to get in there, overwork that right rear tire, send yourself around, and that's probably going to be the big problem area of the track all night. Another one is going to be you want to make the bottom line work. Top really feels to me like it wears you out. If you can run the bottom and run the paint, especially in 3 and 4, you can make a lot of time on the long run when people wear their stuff out. Then last but not least, this track kind of ends up falling into weird strategies and weird patterns. Fuel saving has won me a handful of races here throughout the years, and it seems to be prevalent every time we come to this place. Potentially tonight, but it all depends on what everybody else does. So that's one you want to keep an eye out on, and try to keep a little bit extra in the tank.
Absolutely, and as we get set, ready to go racing, let's go ahead and talk about our picks tonight. Starting off with myself, I'm going to go with the driver who had his team boss take home a checkered flag with the Corvette at VIR, Trenton Dinkle, in the number 9. Congratulations, of course, to Tommy Milner winning over there. Sheldon, who do you got?
I'm going to go with Cruz Goodell. He was really good last week at Indy. Had that thing pretty much on lockdown, and just really heartbreaking loss. Late race incident took him out of it, so looking for some redemption from him tonight.
And our producer, the driver for Elliott Sadler eSports, he is going to go with the driver of Warnes, that being, of course, who is in the mix. Robert Warnes sitting in 11th position right now in qualifying in that number 6. They have a lot of cool things coming up for them here over at Elliott Sadler eSports, but a little bit cooler temperature. 78 degrees is the air temperature, 107 degrees track temperature. Winds out of the northwest at 11 to 12 miles an hour. Going to be a little bit interesting to see how the drivers manage to get around the Bluegrass State and get set for 90 laps of action.
Good news for these guys is this track is going to be pretty gripped up with 177 degree track temp. At the same time, she's still going to be really loose 1 and 2. One of the things I know these guys are going to have issues with is it's going to be really tight with 3 and 4 because of how flat that corner is. It took me a lot to figure out this week running practice laps how to not boil the right front tire off.
And with that, qualifying will come to a conclusion. And with that, we will give you your starting lineup for today's action here at the Kentucky Speedway. On the pole position in the number 16 is going to be the driver of none other than Austin Price. Cruz Cadell will be starting in the 2nd position. 3rd spot in row number 2 will be Justin Smith with Brandon Schmidt in 4th position. Starting in P5 will be Trent Dinkle. Alongside him, Daryl Hahn in 6th position. John Dart and Logan Hudson will be in row number 4 in 7th and 8th. Rounding out your top 10 will be the drivers of Clinton Ingle and Eddie Rose.
Chris Mathis in 12th. 13th is going to be Chris Frost with Nick Groth on his outside in 14th. 15th, we're going to Brandon Burkhart with Randall Sherritt in 16th. 17th is going to be Blair Wickett, followed by Cameron Sarton in 18th. 19th is going to be Russ Boisert with Brunson Hunt in 20th place.
21st position will be Daniel Shamoon, followed by Dustin Smith in 22nd. Matt Coker will be starting in 23rd position with Joey Doucette in 24th. And Jeremy Freer will be riding shotgun in 25th position.
Pretty stacked field here for a B Open tonight.
split rating is showing average of about 5,600. Absolutely stellar lineup of drivers as we are waiting for about 4 drivers to join the grid.
You got a lot of strong names in here for the B Open regulars, all the way through this field. This is gonna be a pretty good show. Not expecting a whole lot of chaos out of this group for sure.
Absolutely, as we wait on the final couple of drivers, everyone waiting on Chris Mathis and Chris Frost, so the 2 Chris's who are waiting to join the grid so we can get set to go racing for 90 laps or about 45 minutes, give or take, as they now finally exit off of pit road behind Fred, the pace car driver, as we see the number 16 of Price lead the field with the 2 Team Conti drivers not too far behind. Then you have, of course, it's actually a Team Conti 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th position for the field in the grid. It's pretty interesting how we kind of see both teams showcase their talents in this. We see the Ryco drivers showcase a lot of talent in the A Open, and then, of course, the Team Conti drivers, with a couple of other teams who come in here as well, come out and showcase the B Open.
Yeah, that's one of the fun things. One of the fun things about these series, you get to see every series that you get into on here. Somebody else seems to have something unlocked just a little bit better than somebody else, or there's a little more focus in one direction than the other. And A Open is very popular right now. B, not as much. So you don't see as many guys outside of the regulars in the B Open. If that makes sense.
It certainly is the case here, as Fred, the pace car driver, will make the hard left turn down on the pit road as we watch Austin Price work his way into the restart zone, ready to go racing here. Barney the Flagman will have the green flag in the air, and we are racing. A little bit of a checkup, though, on the start of the race. This will give a big push for Cruz Cadell to take over the race lead as they rocket their way into turn 1. He'll get a big push from Brandon Schmidt as they go side by side, 2 by 2, all the way back outside the top 10 as they rocket off of turn 2.
Cruz Cadell's going to wash up the track just a little bit coming out turn 2, but he's still going to be able to get the power down. He's going to get in front of Price. He dives it down here into the bottom, and they're 3 wide for 2nd place with Schmidt on the, I think that's Schmidt on the bottom. I could be wrong. Unfamiliar with some of these paint schemes, but they made it through safe. Everybody's clean. It's not going to take them too long to single file out here, I can tell you that.
Absolutely there. I have to say, Sheldon, Justin Smith will get the 2nd spot away from Brandon Schmidt as Cruz Cadell will lead the charge alpha turn number 2. They're still 2 by 2 as Trent Dinkle in the 9 is trying to get around the driver of Brandon Schmidt for position. Then you have Price, your pole sitter, Logan Hudson, Daryl Hahn, John Dart also jockeying around for a chance to break into the top 5 in the opening laps as they come across the line. 3 laps up on the board as they try to go. Here comes a big push from Smith and Schmidt as they try to hunt down Cruz and work their way through. Trouble, though, for a couple of drivers. Nick Groff is having some issues in the number 15 as we have our first caution.
Yeah, first yellow of the night for us right now. A lot of front-end damage. Dive in here. 18, she's going to slide up, hit the bumps there on the apron. Easy thing to do and send the 15 around. This is one of those tracks where you really want to get down there and cut under. 18 went hard into the wall after the fact.
Yeah, it's safe to say for both Chris and Nick, their nights are done. And yeah, we ride on board here with Chris Frost. He just goes a little bit too low below that yellow line, makes the contact, and then hard contact to the outside wall. Another driver as well, making some significant damage to the rear end of his machine. Try to get the number of that one. It was a blue race car. And I think I might have found it. Randall Sherritt, who might have had some damage. Nope, actually the 98 machine of Brenson Hunt has some significant damage to his number 98 Team Conti machine.
Yeah, that thing is absolutely demolished on the front end. It's a big hole to dig yourself out of this early in the race.
It certainly is. So a tough break for them as they will try to work their way through into the pit box and get themselves situated. Chris Frost, Nick Groff, as well as Brenson Hunt have a lot of damage to repair as they, toward back half of the field, comes down pit road to get service, damage, everything. Field now works their way up through the field and gets themselves situated as we ride on board with Cruz Cadell. And looking over the championship, I have to say this one's going to be an exciting one to keep an eye on here for the 2024 season as these drivers battle it out for a lot of great racing action.
These guys always put on a pretty decent show. And this is such a fun combination, too, of car and track.
Yeah, currently at the top of the leaderboard is Quentin Warman, who we've seen win a multiple of times here in the B Open on the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split. Brandon Hauk sits second with Jimmy Norman, your top three. One of your top competitors, Brian Schmidt, who sits third. He currently sits sixth in the standing. A couple of other drivers to make mention of is Justin Smith, who's a little bit further back in the field. He's got a little bit of work to do. John Dart, who we see in the field, currently 8th, sits in 23rd in the standings. And Robert Warren, who we see in the race, he sits 17th in the standings with his 2 wins to name.
Looks like we got a little bit of turmoil in the driver chat right now, too.
Yeah, I believe Chris and Nick are voicing some displeasure amongst each other regarding the situation that happened.
They got plenty of reason to be.
Absolutely. But with that, the lights are out on the pace car, and that means one thing. We're about to go back racing. 6 laps are on the board. We're about to go green flag with 7 laps completed here at the field. Get themselves situated and see if we can go a little bit longer. So A-Open's already ahead of the game as they got no cautions whatsoever. The B-Open, 1 caution. Let's see if we can continue the trend and have a clean race to the finish.
I can tell you what, everybody out here right now, it sounds like they're trying to save some fuel here under yellow, though. Everybody's up in 4th gear, got the engines kicking off, clutch is going in. Trying to open that window as wide as they possibly can.
Absolutely. So we'll see how this all plays out amongst them as they work their way through the middle of turn 3 and 4. And we'll turn them loose to get set to go racing once again here at the Kentucky Speedway. Fred makes the hard left turn down to the pit road as Barney the flagman has the green flag ready to go for Cruz and Justin as they enter into the start box. And we are back underway. Green flag is out and already a great, better launch for Cruz Cadell to pull away from the competition. Justin Smith slots into second as Brandon Schmidt and Trent Dinkle battle it out for that 3rd and 4th position.
Side by side, Schmidt and Smith down here in turn 1 and 2. The 20 machine on the bottom, 66 up top. Smith's going to get the power down, run the top line, though, get the momentum. He's going to... No, the 20's going to dive it back down there on the bottom.
He's going to get a good run here as we watch Schmidt and Smith battling as Logan Hudson moves up to the P4 with a great run around the outside of Trent Dinkle.
Oh.
Drivers just jockeying around for position as they go side by side for the 2nd position. Schmidt on the top side, Smith on the bottom as they try to jockey for that 2nd spot, but they're losing ground to Cruz Cadell.
And they are 3 wide for 6th right now, with a 4th car trying to find his way into the fray. Dart going to get the run down on the top line. Even out a little bit here. Han on the bottom. Just, it's so hard to get anything done on the bottom, though, when you got somebody in your top here. Same thing they were talking about last race at Auto Club. Dart's on the move right now as he dives it down to the bottom of Dinkle here on the front straightaway.
He is absolutely tearing his way through the field as Dinkle loses another spot. He's now going to fall into the clutches of, I believe that is the 91 machine as they work their way through. That's Daryl Hahn, or the 93 machine in the Ghost Racing Team's Watson Setup Shop Toyota. Then he's got to deal with the 3 of Daryl Hahn to his inside. Trent Dinkle falling further and further outside the top 5.
Dart's going to clear himself, and Dinkle's going to come in with the slide job. No, sorry, the crossover. Come down to the bottom here on the front straightaway. They're going to be door to door coming into 1 and 2. Can Dinkle get the power down and get by him?
Cannot do that here as we ride and watch the battle for the race lead as Brandon Schmidt takes it over and becomes your new race leader as they work down the back straightaway. But Cruz Cadell will think about trying to go to the inside to capitalize and get back in front of the field. Can't do that, though, as they work their way through the middle of the corner. And here comes Logan Hudson with a charge.
I'll tell you what, the top line is looking way better than I thought it would look. These guys are really getting some insane runs going up there.
Insane battles. Oh, two cars in the wall as big issues as Justin Smith, and Russ Bosevert are at a big-time snap on several drivers. Let's take a look, see what happened here. Oh, right there.
Just
trying to get in the back of it.
You just got into the back of them, and that's the thing. That when I was talking about that corner being, the back end is so light in that corner. Any change in the balance of the car rapidly, whether it be you using a little bit too much throttle, putting a little too much wheel into it, or, right there, you see you got into the back of him, it shifted the weight, and next thing you know, he's going around. There's nothing you can do to avoid it once it happens. It's weird how it is, because in the commercials they always talked about how tricky 3 and 4 were after the repave. And come here and race it on iRacing, it's the exact opposite. 1 and 2, you're so light compared to the other end of the track.
Well, one thing also, it took out a lot of heavy hitters right there. I mean, Justin Smith, one of your number one contenders, is now going to be out of the race here, and we've seen some drivers coming down pit road here this early on, 12 laps on the board. Logan Hudson decides to stay out as Brandon Schmidt leaves a train of cars down.
This caution fell at a really weird point in the run.
As we watch and keep an eye on the action on pit road, everyone comes down that's behind except for a few drivers. I'd have to say, as Austin Price gets some damage repair on his car. So far, the following drivers stayed out: Logan Hudson, John Dart. Then you have Cameron Sarton, Dustin Smith, and Jeremy Freer. So your top 5 stayed out. Meanwhile, Cruz Cadell will win the race off pit road. Brandon Schmidt, Trenton Dinkle, Chris Mathis, and Eddie Rose, your top 5 off of pit road.
I'm wondering, did Schmidt just speed? Because he got a huge run on Cadell leaving pit road there and then stabbed the brakes to bring it back. I'm wondering if he got a speeding penalty out of that, though.
Looking through to see if there's any black flags given. I do not see any. The only flags are the meatball flags for Chris Frost, Daryl Hahn, and Justin Smith right now. As everyone else, no black flags given.
I'll tell you, Schmidt either timed it out really well there or got really lucky. Because that,
Absolutely. That was a big-time save.
That looked like that was going to be a problem. If it was me, I would have gotten black flagged, 100%.
So probably the same for me.
Oh, yeah.
Field watches their way through. We should be getting back to green flag racing next time by, but it is, of course, as followed: Hudson, Dart, Sarton, Smith, Cadell, Schmidt, Dinkle, Mathis, Rose, and Engel. 2 cautions here. 14 laps completed for your drivers. Settle it down a little bit, gentlemen. We still got quite a bit of racing left to go, I have to say.
We got a long way to go. Still got another pit stop these guys are going to have to make, because they cannot make it on fuel from here.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit of work and a little bit of strategy to see how long they will stay out. I'd probably say we could see these drivers stretch it to about lap 45 to 50 before they need to come down for fuel. But the problem is going to be how well they save their tires.
And also, I'm kind of concerned right now, too, because we got guys that stayed out here on old tires relative to the rest of the field. We got about 4 guys out here on old stuff. I'm really concerned about how 1 and 2 are going to play out here on this restart.
I have to agree with you on that. So we'll see what happens here between these new drivers up towards the front of the field with no tire changes and those who are on the track with tire changes. We're now down to 4 drivers who decided to stay out on the track as the driver of Jeremy Freer decides to come down pit road to get some fresh tires and fuel. Lights should go out on the pace car this time by. And yes, indeed, we're going to double them back up and go back racing.
Also kind of worried about the wheel spin too, because you got a huge elevation change right there in the restart zone, in the quad, the tri-oval here. It feels like you're going uphill a little bit. It's not, super massive, but it's been known to cause problems in the past. I've certainly been in a few races here where it's happened.
See what happens here as they double up and get set to go racing. Keep an eye on some of the other competitors who are working their way through the field. A couple of your biggest movers right now goes to Cameron Sarton and Dustin Smith, both starting outside the top 15. So they got some work to do here. Same thing with Matt Coker, who started 23rd, is now just outside the top 10 in 11th position. Field now getting themselves set up, ready to go racing once again as they enter out of turn 3 and 4. It'll be 15 laps completed, coming to lap 16 here for our drivers as they enter into the restart zone. Fred, the pace car driver, makes the hard left turn down on the pit road as Logan Hudson and John Dart lead the charge and ready to go at it and do battle as they enter into the restart zone. Barney the Flagman has the green flag in hand, and we are back at it. A great jump by Logan Hudson. John Dart did not get a good jump. He's going to lose and fall into the clutches of the field.
The outside line did not get going on the restart. Lucky that wasn't a huge stack up that, caused a couple cars to go around. Everybody looking like they're taking care of each other further in the pack right now.
Here they go. They try to jockey around for position. Almost going to go 3 wide, heading off into turn 3 and 4. And already Cruz Cadell will lead the charge to the inside of Cameron Sarton. He wants that second place away. Logan Hudson, though, sees the opportunity to start to pull away just a little bit from the competition as they head across the start-finish line. It is a half a second advantage from Logan Hudson to Cruz Cadell.
They're going to clear Sutton coming into turn 1 here. A little bit of a slide up in front of Dinkle behind him.
Yeah, Dinkle will get the spot away in the 3rd position as he will now try to see if he can find his way back into the top 2. Meanwhile, the 51 machine of Dustin Smith that's Cameron Sarton and Dustin Smith battling it out for that 4th position as we watch on and see who survives. John Dart ready to capitalize on it as he'll go around the outside.
Dinkle showing a little bit of a bumper to the inside of Cadell. Cadell's going to get the bottom back, though. Not much pressure. Slowly inching into that lead that Hudson has over him.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of trying to hold on as he sticks to the outside lane. A couple of drivers making the outside lane work pretty well. Brandon Schmidt, one of them. Another one of the Nitro drivers. That's the 12 of Matt Coker in that Nitro Racing number 12 as he tries to fight his way through the field.
Coker's really is actually tearing through him here. Run the top line.
Matt Coker, one of the top short track aces in the iRacing community. You always see him racing in modifieds or late models, putting on stellar drives from start to finish, as he's now trying to work his way through the A, B, and C open events and have a shot. He is definitely, if he gets the right run going, which of course him with Nitro is a great pairing, he is going to work his way up through to have a chance to be a future eNASCAR championship competitor.
Coker's a pretty good guy. I worked with him for a while over at Ryco. Haven't talked to him in a while, though. Fast, though, and everything you put him in.
He certainly is, as the field will work their way through. And there you see right behind him the 54 machine, that being the driver of Eddie Rose, who's working his way through. Another driver in the 13, that's Daniel Shamoon, who is having a good run.
And Dan's also pretty lights out. Typically up there running with, Dakota Earman, some of, the regulars in this series. Really fast, really smart. I mean, I could tip my hat to everybody in this field, though. I've ran a lot of laps against all of them.
Everyone minding their P's and Q's. You're on board with Shamoon, who is in the number 13 Toyota. As he gets a good run, he's going to try to find that opening, get around Dustin Smith in the 51 machine. He'll look to the inside, send it down to the bottom, side by side for position, and will clear him almost off turn 2. There's still going to be a dead heat between the two of them as we see a battle for the race lead. Cruz Cadell will take over the race lead from Logan Hudson as they come out of turn number 3 and 4. New race leader Cruz Cadell leads out of 4.
And Hudson's going to fight back up on the top line. Cadell's going to go down there to the bottom and take the Joker lap from the looks of it. Good run here into 1. He's going to have him cleared, though. No contest right now.
He clears him off of turn 2, and now Trent Dinkle and the driver of Brandon Schmidt will try to follow suit as the two Conti eSports drivers try to follow their way through. And so far, Logan Hudson struggling on the outside with those older tires.
Yeah, but he's doing a tremendous job keeping that thing under him. 19th car in the seed. You know, car number doesn't always mean everything, but you look at it and you think about it. Coming out there on old tires, doing a good job keeping himself here in the top 5 still, as he's still hanging on to 3rd place with Schmidt diving down to the bottom and still not being able to get the run on him.
Absolutely.
Until we come into 3.
He gets a good run. Here comes Matt Coker as well in the 15 machine as run through the middle of the corner. That 12 machine is trying to fire his way up through the field and is looking to try to break it further into the top 5. He's on the back bumper of Logan Hudson, who dives it down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Coker going to hang out here on the top line, try to get that run down the back straightaway. Oh, Hudson's going to slide up in front of him. Coker's going to clip the wall, trying to keep it off him.
He's going to try, and he will do so as Hudson tries to hold down the inside lane, but here comes Coker around the outside, move him to P4.
He's absolutely sending around him. Oh, it's going to be 3 wide with Hudson here in the middle. 46 sneaks twice out of it, backs out of it.
Same thing with the 54 machine. They decided to be smart about it, not bring out another caution just yet, as Shamoon, Wickett, Mathis, and Logan Hudson battle it out. And around the outside, it looks like the driver of Eddie Rose will complete the pass on Logan Hudson. Same thing with the driver of Daniel Shamoon. And here comes Chris Mathis and Blair Wickett, the Ryco driver, who's the highest running Ryco driver in the 9th spot.
Mathis just about sent the 19 around there. Got about a ½ inch off the quarter panel and just let sway off him because the car started pushing up on him.
Blair Wickett had a close call right there. Went below the yellow line through the middle of turn 1 and 2, got the car a little loose, gathered it back up, and is now trying to fight his way through on the bottom to get the spot away from Logan Hudson.
And this is a scary place for the 19 to be too, right? Like, you're on old tires. Everybody out here around you is on freshies. You know these guys are probably better than you too. Hence the reason why you took the strategy to stay out. You've got to run your own race and avoid getting yourself hurt, but you also don't want to hemorrhage positions to the point where you're in dead last and you can't make anything of the strategy call that you made. He's doing a really good job, you know, not putting himself into bad positions. A lot of people struggle with that on here.
He's got to find a way to stop the bleeding effect, and I think he might have been able to. He stops to the 9th position. He's got Joey Doucette behind him in the 10th position with help from the driver of Cameron Sarton, who's also on older tires as well. So this might be where he's able to stop it for the time being as we ride on board with Trent Dinkle, who is trying to close the gap and find his way up towards the front of the field.
And what Dinkle is fast right now. And he is keeping Cadell absolutely honest with every corner. But the thing that I like about Cruz is look at how well he is able to hook that yellow line all the way through the corner in 3 and 4. And that right there, that is the money. That is what's going to get you this win here, is having a car that can do that and to be able to do it yourself consistently as a driver, because it ain't easy.
It really is not. Lap after lap, he is running the fastest laps inside the top 5. He just did it again with a 32.11. Everyone else running low 32 1s to 32 2s for the most part inside the top 8. So he is absolutely doing what he needs to do. Matt Coker is one, though, who's trying to close the gap if he can break away from the 2 guys ahead of him.
And the thing that I'm liking that I'm seeing out of Coker right now is he's running his own thing right now. Everybody else is kind of trying to hang around to the bottom. You got Schmidt moved up there to the top to cover Coker because he sees how fast he is up there. But Matt is content to run where nobody else is. And that is a consistent thing with him that I've noticed throughout, the years I've raced against him. And he's making it work. Up there in the top 5.
He certainly is.
Schmidt.
Watching on to see how this plays out. Coker gets a good run through the middle of the corner. He's going to get right onto the back bumper of Brandon Schmidt for that 3rd spot, but he's got a little bit of work to do in order to make this work here as they work through the middle of the corner. Cruz Cadell, though, has checked out to a 0.2 of a second of a lead over Trent Dinkle, who's trying to stay right on his heels, but so far he's starting to taper off just a little bit. With that, we're going to step aside, take a quick commercial break. But when we come back, we'll have more racing action here at the Kentucky Speedway. You're watching the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split B Open race on GridVision.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split here at Kentucky Speedway. It's the B cars who are running. Taylor Burris here along with Sheldon Atkins and Austin Derbyshire as 40 laps are completed for your drivers, approaching the halfway point of tonight's racing action as we have a little bit of a quiet, not a quiet full week, but we won't be here on our normal Friday night because currently the NASCAR series is on a little bit of a 2-week vacation because of the Olympics happening, but we still have more action here. Currently, it is still Cruz Cadell, your race leader, Brandon Schmidt second, Trent Dinkle third, Matt Coker fourth, Eddie Rose fifth, Daniel Shamoon in sixth with Blair Wickett, Joey Doucette, Chris Mathis, and Cameron Sarton, your top 10 as they come around the circuit here as 50 laps to go.
Starting to get a little antsy here in the midsection of the pack. Huge battle going on right now. The contact on the one.
10
Keep
car
it
goes
under you.
Keep it under you, indeed. Saves the car. A beautiful drive right there to recover the car and continue on racing. This is around the 16th to 18th position, but Russ absolutely just Tokyo drifted into that Supra. It is by far one of the nicest paint schemes out there on the track, I have to say, with that neon blue, black, silver, and a little bit of orange right there.
Pops, that's for sure. It, especially looks good when it's drifting.
Absolutely. By the way, for Toyota to really bring back the Celica in 2025, if anyone's got a chance to see that.
Oh, that thing looks so cool.
It does. Sorry, I had to break away, but since we were talking Toyota, Supra with their updated car, everyone's hit or miss on that, but with the Celica, I think they really hit the mark.
I mean, here's the thing. We went how many decades without Toyota having any kind of sports car or anything exciting? And, here in the past, 3 years, they're like, oh, yeah, we can make those still.
Yeah,
it's great to see. I love it.
Yeah. Well,
is it Prelude now?
Yeah, well, if NASCAR does convince Honda to come to NASCAR in the near future, who knows? We'll see what happens if the Prelude or the Accord will be the choice. Or it could be Prelude and Xfinity and Accord and Cup.
I'll say one thing. Coker is looking pretty solid right now. All over the back end of Dinkle.
As producer gets on the air and saying it's the Civic, you're probably right. It will be the Civic in Xfinity.
It's like they just show up and bring back the 1998 Accord. As Matt Coker goes to the outside of Trent Dinkle here on the front straightaway, trying to pull him in with a little bit of side draft.
Side drafting.
Using the shorter diameter to get a little bit more of a run on the straightaway, but Dinkle's got him here for now. Big slide into the wall.
That's
why he had him.
He almost had him right there. Now Matt Coker will capitalize on that mistake from Trent Dinkle and move back into P3. Slide job complete, and he'll now set his sights on Brandon Schmidt.
Dinkle's not going to give this thing up easy. He's back here on the bottom. He's fighting in his door just about. A little bit of contact moves him up this track just a hair. That's the last person I'll be throwing haymakers at, that's for sure.
Absolutely. That Nitro car versus the Conti GG machine are going to do battle here. I know Trent's trying to bring home a good finish.
Still slamming into him.
And they're still door slamming.
Yeah. Look, there's a reason why Coker's been voice banned at least 25 times by now. You don't want to make that guy angry.
Oh, goodness, here. Matt Coker's trying to hold on and get that third spot. He finally clears them and sets his sight on Schmidt, who's now up the road by about 0.8 of a second. Meanwhile, Cruz Cadell has checked out to an 0.8 of a second lead as well from the field. So a little bit of breathing room for your top two. And then everyone else just starting to get spaced out. The best battles out there on the track is right about here between the drivers outside the top 10 who are trying to fight their way through the field. That is John Dart, Jeremy Freer. Those drivers have yet to pit. And one driver who's really struggling is Logan Hudson, who is sliding off the corners just about every lap.
Yeah, but Hudson, he's on way older tires. I would like to bring it back up to the battle between... The battle between Dinkle and Coker is not over. Dinkle has had the back tires of Coker's machine lifted off the ground at least 3 or 4 times since we panned the camera back. And he is not giving this thing up without a fight. And it very well could end up being a fight.
It really could be indeed. So we'll see what happens here between the two drivers. And Coker is trying to hold off. He gets to the middle of the racetrack. Dinkle's trying to find his way to get a good runoff corner exit without hitting the wall again. And so far, he's able to do so and stay just right tucked up behind. If they can try to separate their differences, they need to try to focus on closing in on the second leader.
I think what Dinkle's trying to focus on right now is getting to that rear bumper more so than he is actually getting off the corner, because he is sending it in there to the corner.
He absolutely is, as we watch and ride on board with Trent Dinkle as he is trying to hold on and chase down Matt Coker for the third spot. You ride on board with the Team Conti driver and private label Team Hype driver as he slides his way to the bottom of the racetrack to close the door on the Nitro driver. Can't make it work.
I also have to say, man, those private label Team Hype cars, they never fail to deliver in the paint scheme department. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Team Hype car since they've been around.
You can thank some of the drivers over there. I mean, you got Jason Brophy, who's one of the top contenders over there. You have a lot of big names that we will see, maybe not in the eNASCAR side, but they are some of the top drivers over at the Precision Racing League. And then also you'll see some of those drivers compete in the Lionheart IndyCar Series and possibly soon the IndyCar Pro Championship that'll be happening later on in 2024.
Early contact between Dinkle and Coker. Coker must have done something to make Dinkle mad, because he has been hounding him since that pass was made. And Coker's coming on pit road, as well as second place Brandon Schmidt.
Pit stop cycles happening after the halfway point. It's safe to say these drivers want to get some fresh tires, so that way they can make it to the end, because right here, I'd have to say, Sheldon, you can make it to the end of the race.
Oh, yeah. You absolutely can. At this point now, it comes down to the deltas as to when you're pitting. I mean, obviously, Coker wanted to come in because him and Dinkle were battling. That's really hemorrhaged track position to Cadell. And the rest of these guys are trying to get that jump, get that undercut.
And
it still works with this car.
Cruz Cadell will come down pit road. Trenton Dinkle, Eddie Rose, Daniel Shamoon, and those top three drivers stay out. What about the rest of the field? Clinton Ingle, Jeremy Freer. Freer has finally only made one pit stop, as well as Russ Bosevert will stay out. So 6 cars yet to pit. Logan Hudson, does he come down? I would hope so. No, he does not, but he makes contact with the 98 machine. He'll slide his way around the circuit, nearly loses control of his race car, gathers it back up, as that was nearly some big major contact.
I think what Hudson's doing right now is he's doubling down, trying to get as much out of that set of tires as he possibly can, because he wants to have the freshest stuff. Doesn't have the fastest car here today. No disrespect to him at all. Fact's a fact. I think he's just trying to have the freshest sets and have an extra set sitting in the box when a caution does come out.
Well, I mean, he's not going to have some good tires right here after this bit of contact between himself and Hunt.
Oh, that was... I think he thought he was clear, and he just wasn't.
Yeah, that's what it looked like indeed. And then watch this.
You cannot... Oh, that was...
Yeah. I didn't see the first part, and they're still side by side roughing it up with each other.
Oh, you can throw strategy out the window at this point with that one.
Yeah, he needs to come down and pit, because that's now not going to work out for him. As Daryl Hahn and a couple of other drivers will try to come around, as here comes the 6 of Ingle.
Say the Ryco paint looks really good on the Xfinity car.
Yeah, especially when it's the Ford Mustang, because pretty much every single Ryco driver out there, whether it be A or B or even C, it's with the Ford.
Well, that's I think that has to do with the big dog on top over there. I know Ken is very partial to his Fords.
He certainly is, and I have to say the Nitro drivers are pretty partial with their Toyotas, I have noticed. And then, of course, the Conti drivers with their Chevrolets.
As we look at Coker's Ford Mustang in second, or whatever position he's in right now.
Cruz's Ford, and as well with the Conti driver.
Oh, you gotta love it.
You do.
But I know from conversations I had with Ken back a couple years ago, there's a very deep racing history between him, his family, and Ford. So it makes sense to see it be the universal requirement for his drivers here on the service.
Absolutely, as we watch 2 drivers still yet to pit, that being the number 17 of Logan Burkhart, actually make that number 8 in the Nitro Ford. Then you got Logan Hudson, who has finally come down pit road after 57 laps.
It's about time.
I'd have to say it would certainly be about time. Coming up to 30 laps to go, Brandon Burkhart yet to pit. And he finally comes down pit road after 58 laps. Stretched it as far as he could go. As Cruz Cadell and Matt Coker, this is the battle for the race lead once they come out of turn 4.
I will say the undercut strategy has worked wonders for Coker here. Coming in as early as he did, throwing the rest of those guys off, he must have been perfect getting in and out of pit road, because look at how much time he closed to your race leader of Cruz Cadell. All over the rear bumper.
And he has worked his way through. How about Joey Doucette making his way into the top 3? As he currently works his way through. And he's been on those tires for about 6 laps, so he's able to undercut the field big time. Chris Mathis as well. Trent Dinkle now falls back to 5th after losing 2 spots.
That is actually a nice looking little paint scheme on that 16 machine. I dig that.
Yeah, Joey Doucette with the Team Conti and Track Racers and the Maroon PC.
That's a pretty clean looking paint. A little too much chrome for my liking, but
to each their own.
we won't subtract points from that. Looks really good. Good shade anyway. We got is that Shamoon? I believe,
that is Shamoon.
Right? There we go. Gotta learn them cars.
Shamoon going up against Cameron Sarton in the Team Watson Racing setup shop in the number 1 machine. As they'll go now line up, and Shamoon will complete the pass on Sarton to move up to 7th, as here comes Eddie Rose. He wants that spot away from Trent Dinkle to break into the top 5, 30 laps to go.
Something is off with Dinkle's car right now, because he was so good that first stint, and right now you see him kind of just tapering off, fading back a little bit.
Field works their way around the circuit here, and as we watch on this battle for a top 5, Chris Mathis, they have caught up to him and putting the pressure on, and they're closing in on Joey Doucette for the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Matt Coker, he is putting the pressure on your race leader, Cruz Cadell, out of turn number 2. They're 4.7 seconds ahead of the rest of the field as we keep an eye on those drivers, but he is fighting his way. He wants a shot of the race lead, and lap traffic is up ahead. Burkhart and Hudson about to go a lap down.
Look at how much better Coker is in the center than Cadell right now. He's going to get a huge run coming down out of 4.
Is he going to
Lifts
set up
a little bit? Lifts a little bit. Didn't look like he wanted to get into the back of him.
Gets a little tap right there. He'll go to the top side of the racetrack here. Gets a good run. Tries to stay right above that patch off of turn 1 and 2. Loses a little bit of time to your race leader as they come charging down the back straightaway, heading into the braking zone. And a couple of drivers stay up towards the top side of the racetrack as you ride on board with Matt Coker as they approach this lap traffic. It's about 3 cars they have to negotiate. Let's see what Cruz can do. Can he keep these drivers in place to set himself up to try to fight the opening and make the pass, or will he stay tucked up behind?
As we right on board with Doucette here. P3, such a good run. Good run for him right now.
Good points night for the II rating as well, I have to say. Oh, here comes Shamoon.
Yeah, Shamoon, Dinkle. It's going to be a little bit of a different story between these two battling than what we saw with him and Coker. Shamoon, a lot of respect from a lot of drivers in this field. Really fair, calm, laid-back guy to race against.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens here amongst these drivers. They go and work their way around the circuit side by side. And you know what?
A slide job.
A little bit of a slide job indeed here. And as they work their way through, you know what, Sheldon? Why don't we give it a chance to thank one of our sponsors? And that, of course, is Ryco Performance. With a Ryco Performance, crank it up.
Sounds good to me, buddy. Let's do it.
And that was your Rev It Up with Ryco here. Of course, if you want some of the top of the line, the best setups, as well as some of the best coaching and setup packs for your short track, eNASCAR, road racing, and more, visit rycoperformance.gg for more information. And of course, you can have a chance to battle it out with some of the best in eNASCAR and other forms of racing on the iRacing platform. Thanks again for Ryco Performance for that Rev It Up section. As we are under 20 laps to go, Cruz Cadell has now started to give a little bit of breathing room over Matt Coker. He has half a second advantage over him, but Daniel Shamoon has moved up into the top 3 now with that pass as he tries to hold off Trenton Dinkle.
Yeah, it's looking like a good night for the Nitro guys for sure. I think what you're seeing right now with Coker falling back, I think that running up there at the top like he's been doing, I think he's really been scorching them Goodyear Eagles off, and I think it's starting to bite him in the back just a little bit here. As you see Cadell pull away, and Shamoon with a mirror full of Trent Dinkle right now. It's like these two can't get away from each other yet.
They certainly cannot. And then, of course, you got Eddie Rose right there inside the top 10, who's trying to fight his way up and close the gap between himself and Dinkle, with Cameron Sarton closing in.
Yeah, Eddie Rose and Sarton, both really solid performances right now. And Sarton, talk about paint scheme slide on here. That's a pretty neat looking one. Oh,
It certainly is that
little
fire.
Jeff Gordon flare on the hood and multicolored. And
Yeah.
man, if I was 10 again, that'd be the coolest diecast in my collection.
Tempers are flaring a little bit inside the race between lap cars and others, between Brinson Hunt and Logan Hudson and several others.
It wouldn't be a B open race if it wasn't for a lap car being in the dang way.
Adding a little bit of drama here in the closing stages. Coming around the circuit here, just about 15 laps to go. They're coming around to take lap 73 complete, 74 on the board.
I think I might have made a safe bet with Cadell.
I think you have indeed. Not a bad run. Trent Dinkle, for me, sits in 4th, and I believe our producer did not have a good run. His driver is sitting, I believe, in 21st or 10th. I can't remember. He picked 1.
Nope. Oh,
So he sits
well,
10th.
near 3 wide action, 51. So, oh, man, they're all loose over there.
Watching
51
on
machine.
here.
Diving down to the bottom here. Is he going to be able to complete the pass? Not quite. 95 is going to be charging back hard on the outside.
Watching
so
on here.
hard to beat the top run momentum.
It really is. That top side is helping out quite a bit for the driver of Robert Warnes, as Dustin Smith and Jeremy Freer are trying to fight their way on the bottom. It's not going to work.
Freer with just a little bit of contact to the 51 machine of Dustin Smith. Still stuck there on the bottom. So hard to make a pass down there, but he's looking pretty good right now.
He certainly is.
Oh,
Close call.
51 just got right up to the quarter panel of the 95, got him tied up into the gray.
And he's going to stay up there for the moment. Here comes the number 6 machine of Robert Warnes. He's going to try to see if he can break into the top 10.
Yeah, that's right here. This is an absolute cluster. Oh, Smith is going to dive it down the inside of Warnes, pop him in the door.
A little bit. That'll move him up the racetrack a little bit more, as we're going to go 3 wide off turn number 4. Almost. And now Warnes will try to hold on. Here comes a couple of drivers right now, as the driver, we see the 95 struggling to try to get his way, as he'll slide it
Warnes
in
gonna
to
get
the
him back.
inside.
Warnes going to get him back here. Yes, he does. He's going to give him a little tap. He's going to slide Smith right up against the wall. Great driving by Smith to keep that thing under him.
Absolutely incredible, but he is going to lose a ton of spots, Robert Warnes does, and that will open the door for several drivers, such as Clinton Ingle, who gains a 2-for-1 special right there, as they're still going to battle it out.
Yeah, these two, they're racing the hell out of each other and shooting each other out over the driver chat, too, at the same time. Warnes showing him the door again, coming in. Smith is not going to be able to contest with it this time. Let's see if he can cross him over here. Not quite going to be able to get the power down in time or get the cut.
Nope, going to have to try again here as we watch
Oh, he's sending him.
Send it in deep
Almost.
around the outside. Robert Warnes putting the pressure on and trying to see if he can break away from the driver of Dustin Smith.
Smith's just worn his stuff out, trying to fight with Warren's there.
Yeah, it's safe to say that this driver is kind of going to struggle a little bit more here and have some issues.
Oh, somebody hit something. I heard it.
Fell in the hospital.
Right now, it's looking like it's kind of taming out here. Everybody single filing out, getting into their positions. Goodell, huge lead now, over about at a second over Matt Coker in second. I think Goodell might just have this thing locked up. 10 laps, just shy of 10 to go.
10 laps left to go here as we watch Matt Coker try to close the gap on Cruz Goodell, but so far he has lost a ton of time, and he is losing about a tenth a lap. And Daniel Shamoon is starting to close in a little bit. He is gaining a tenth a lap for him. So Coker's starting to fall back in the wrong way as Shamoon for the Nitro banner is trying to see if he can hunt down for a chance of a second place.
And Dinkle still hanging on strong in third place. Eddie Rose behind him. Great run out of Eddie tonight. Solid top 10 here.
Great run here as they work their way through and keeping an eye on the battles for here. The 54 machine trying to see if he can break up further into the top 7. Chris Mathis is against Joey Doucette. You're right on board with Chris Mathis as they head down to the 3 and 4.
We've got a really good run out of turn 2. Got him significantly closer to the rear end of Doucette. And kind of equalized right now, though, 3 and 4. It's so hard to find a way to be better than somebody in these cars because of how on the edge you are every lap.
Keeping an eye on the drivers here as they work their way through and keeping an eye on the action as we watch these two battle it out for the 6th and 7th position.
Oh, here we go. Side-by-side battle between Rose and Dinkle here. Sorry, not Rose. Sarton. Those darn door numbers throw me off sometimes.
It certainly is, especially with how they show in the timing and scoring, too, sometimes for us. But here comes Sarton around the outside of Trent Dinkle for the 5th spot, and he will do so as we watch them work their way through. How about, oh, that would be the lap down, I have to say, Austin Price, right behind that group. No, that's not Austin Price. Who is that behind? Is that Joey Doucette or is that someone else? That is not Joey Doucette.
Oh, Connell just hit the wall in the middle of the back straightaway.
Oh, boy. And he is slowing a little bit. A little bit of damage right there you see on the nose.
It's not going to help the tires any. Coker was able to close about 0.2 of a second on him, maybe 3 with that incident. He's going to clip it again, coming into 1.
He's going to fight his way through around the circuit. He's got a lot of work to do, and it was not a lot of time left. He's got to make sure he can hold on in the closing stages.
That 1.3 second gap has dropped down to 9/10 now, flirting with the 8. I don't think Coker can do anything unless he makes another big mistake, though, because Goodell is just so fast.
This is going to get exciting to see how this all plays out, and we're watching here and see who can survive in these final couple of laps to go. Cruz Goodell has to hold off a hard-charging Matt Coker, who's picked up half a second with that damage that Cruz got on those couple of laps ago.
I don't know, 3 to go. It's going to need to be bigger than that. Bigger gains than that if Coker wants to bring home the prize. If there's anybody that's going to try to find it, though, it's going to be him. So we got another battle shaping up here between Sarton and Rose.
Here we go. 3 laps to go for your race leader as Cameron Sarton, Eddie Rose, and more battle for more positions here as they fight their way through. And right there, Rose gets crossed over by Cameron Sarton as those two battle for the 4th spot.
And that was a last-second decision from Sargent. You can see the tail end kick out. He wasn't expecting Rose to slide up the way he did, but he took it, and he's taking advantage of it, too, down here on the bottom in 3 and 4. We'll get right up to the quarter panel, get loose. Rose is going to pull it back down the straightaway, though. Big slide, a lot of respect being shown between these two, because that could have been a wreck.
It certainly could have been indeed, so we'll keep an eye on this action here as we close in. 2 laps to go for Cruz Cadell. Matt Coker has picked up another 10th, make it 2 tenths as they send it into turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, right now, Cadell 2 in the wake of the 19 machine. Lap down car, loose. You got 1 lap to go. Just try to stay in between him and Coker. Don't go up there trying to race him now, because God knows you're liable to get smoked if you do.
You got to be careful here. As we know, a lot can happen. White flag in the air for Cruz Cadell as he heads down the back straightaway for the final time. The Team Conti performance team has showcased the talent here tonight with some dominating runs. Nitro with Matt Coker is trying to stop the run, but at a turn number 4, Cruz Cadell will capture the flag here in the Bluegrass State and win at Kentucky.
Good performance, good dominating performance, and honestly, a lot of redemption for last week at Indy. Had that race slip through his hands late because of an incident that just should never even been in the position of. But here he is, bringing it back home here in Kentucky.
Absolutely incredible for Cruz to take home the checker flag as he will come around to celebrate and burn it down in the Bluegrass State. Give him a chance to set himself up for a little bit of a burnout celebration. And this, of course, is brought to you by the Ryco Performance. Make sure to go visit the Ryco Performance website for some of the top-of-the-line setups at rycoperformance.gg.
Oh, and there is a fight on pit road.
Oh, and there, yes, indeed, they're getting at each other a little bit over there. Shame we don't get to have virtual boxing in iRacing.
It's it's the suspects I was expecting too. It's Warnes and Smith. Not too happy.
Well, as the virtual race officials try to break up that monotony over there, we're going to step aside for our final commercial break, give you the full field rundown, and hopefully talk to your race winner. You're watching the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split live on GridVision. Welcome back to the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split. It's Cruz Cadell who takes home the checker flag, followed by Matt Coker second. Daniel Shamoon will round out your top 3 with Eddie Rose 4th, Cameron Sarton in 5th with Trenton Dinkle 6th, Joey Doucette 7th, Chris Mathis 8th, John Dart and Jeremy Freer round out your top 10.
at 11 points. In 11th place, we have Russ Boivert, followed by Clinton Ingle, with Robert Warrens in 13th. 14th is going to be Dustin Smith, followed by Randall Sherritt, with Nick Gross in 16th, and Austin Price 17th. 18th is going to be Brandon Burkhart. 19th is going to be Logan Hudson, and rounding out your top 20 is going to be Brandon Schmidt.
Tough break for Brandon Schmidt coming home in 20th. 21st, as we get through the rest of the field here, will be Blair Wickett, Daryl Hahn in 22nd, Brinson Hunt, Chris Frost, and Justin Smith. Round out your 25-car field as we get a chance to talk to your race winner, Cruz Caudell. Cruz, one word I have to say for you, dominating effort for you here tonight at Kentucky.
Yeah, I felt pretty good all race. This week is just save as much right rear as you can. If you ever have one slip up, it's absolutely terrible on the right rear. So just got to be consistent. You got to hit your marks, and glad I could pull it off.
How important is it to try to hug that bottom line as best you can through this race? Because this track here can absolutely tear up tires from start to finish.
Oh yeah, that's the critical part here, is just making sure that you get the rights on a little like strip of the asphalt to give you some left side grip. So it's like I said, it's very crucial to stay down there, and I think I saved a lot of right rear doing that. Later in the run, I kind of moved up in 3 and 4, but I was getting so loose coming off of 4, I just had to do what I had to do to keep the car feeling good, especially getting in dirty air the last 5 or 6 laps there.
Well, before we let you go, Cruz, to celebrate your victory, who do you have to give a shout out to? Anyone you want to give a thanks to?
Yeah, all the guys at TSP, or TCSP, sorry. Nick Ottinger, Michael Conti, they do a lot for us. I appreciate all they do. Dustin Hall. Thank you guys for broadcasting it.
Absolutely. That is Cruz Caudell, your race winner here. And Sheldon, I want to come to you for some final thoughts here for the action that we saw here tonight, starting with both the A and B Open.
And what an action-packed, doubleheader we had tonight. A Open was absolutely phenomenal from start to finish, and the B Open, I wasn't expecting it to be as great as it was, but man, I'll tell you what, it really turned into something awesome there, especially at the end. It's these two tracks. I mean, these are two tracks that we don't have anymore, and it's a shame that we don't, because they really can put on a good show given the race circumstances.
It really is. And of course, we have some more exciting racing. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for the Champions Power Equipment Truck Series. Wednesday, we'll have the Thunderclap iRacing Series. And then Thursday, we have the High Slide Racing Truck Series. So Monday through Thursday is your place to be for GridVision's action. And we'll be back here for the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split for more great action with the A and B Open next week. And of course, for the entire GridVision team, for our amazing producer, Austin Derbyshire, for my co-host, Sheldon Atkins, and the great camera work that we have from Andrew Cardinal, I'm Taylor Burris. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the grid.